Hello, wonderful people. If you are out there watching us live, you have made it to the Democrat Consultant Hour. Live from everywhere. It's Sunday afternoon. We got a whole bunch of crazy shit happening in the universe. We are live now. We're going to be discussing all sorts of stuff. Be sure to... Oh, yeah, we got a banger. We got a banger happening today, folks. It's going to be a crazy, crazy afternoon. We're going to be reacting to all sorts of videos. We got a whole lot happening. Right now, we're going to start out with this video I found.
Lunatics who's come to kill the president. This guy's obviously another of these left-wing lunatics who's come to kill the president. 3 assassination attempts on the president now. Charlie is dead. You have people on the left lionizing Luigi Mangione.
Well, there's a bar in Wisconsin.
Let me finish.
Yeah.
You have polling showing a tolerance for political violence on the left, and I heard Hakeem.
There is no tolerance for political violence on this left, okay? We understand that the right has very violent policies, but we understand also that the best way to respond to those policies is by doing nothing. So,
Jeffrey, say this week, it's maximum warfare all the time.
We are in an era of maximum warfare.
when Hakeem says that, though, he doesn't actually mean it. Do you understand? I mean, it's performance art. It's performance. Look at the smile on his face. He looks like Kramer after he just snuck into Seinfeld's house. Hakeem Jeffries doesn't mean any of this, right?
Everywhere, all the time.
We have a violent streak on the left and a rhetoric problem on the left, and it must be acknowledged today.
When I was at the...
You know what I hope that Scott Jennings acknowledges is the fact that he really spent a lot of time in bathrooms on Fire Island in the 90s with other men. I hope he acknowledges that before he runs for Mitch McConnell's seat, that snot-nosed little twerp. And I have no problem with anybody spending any time with men. God knows. I like to dilly-dally. I like to swing both ways. But Scott Jennings is one of the most reprehensible racists I've ever seen. And sure, you know, our friends at CNN are never going to go in the mainstream and speak ill of anybody like Scott. He's such an esteemed colleague. But Scott's a little freak. So he's trying to take down the moderates with Danny Bash here. And I just want to remind everybody that even though Scott Jennings is a future Democrat, he doesn't like to get his freak on, okay?
Department of Justice, what we found is after the 2020 election, there was a significant rise of threats to all elected leaders, state legislators, some who were killed, to our president, Joe Biden at the time, Barack Obama. Someone tried to go into his residence. This is a problem.
Who's the president?
Hold on.
How many assassination attempts?
There are several
3.
assassination attempts
3.
to other presidents that were not successful. I agree. It should be investigated about why they continue. What are the failures of the Secret Service?
And the Democratic just quickly, the Speaker of the House in Minnesota, a Democrat, lost her life to political violence this past summer. This is not solely a problem on the left. It is a problem across the board. It is a rising crisis.
Don't downplay it this
It
way.
is rising crisis in this country.
Stop generalizing
and
the
it's
left.
appalling.
No, actually, you know, it is not a problem it is a problem. It's a problem on both sides of the aisle. But really, it's only a problem on our side of the aisle. So we're going to preemptively take responsibility for all the political violence in this country. That is why Merrick Garland didn't do anything to Trump when he was in office. He understood that the left needed to be held accountable for its own violence on January 6th, because I'm pretty sure somebody forgot to hold a door to one of the insurrectionists to let them get in the door. So that was our failing. That was our bad on January 6th. We were impolite. We were rude. If you're joining us on TikTok, we're on Twitch and YouTube. We can't play clips on TikTok because the Ellisons hate me. Here's our little things. I'm gonna have to find a place to hide those. I don't want to leave sight, you crazy bastards. So, anyways, we are here tonight. We're going to be reacting to some videos to discuss the White House Correspondents' Dinner to start. We're then going to get into some of the Hassan Piker not being a communist stuff because he's such a Nepo baby. He's just a Nepo baby. Oh, my God. The thing I wanted to talk about, though, is that there is a lot of hate going on right now to my dear personal friend Janet Mills, who Chuck Schumer. Don't forget to join our we're on Democrat Consultant on Twitch. Janet Mills is catching a lot of heat these days. Apparently she vetoed a moratorium on data centers, which was a very brave thing to do. Good for you, Janet Mills. Good for you. Now,
that first game, that first win. A lot of action. A lot of it is against the board, but you know.
I just am very saddened to see that Gary Busey has taken such a bad turn in his health. Because I thought this was Janet, but it turns out it's Gary Busey.
Oh man, where are they? Where are you?
Yeah, I don't know, Gary. I thought you were doing cameos, man. Why are you Janet Mills' body? I don't know. Chuck Schumer couldn't hit a bull's ass with a handful of rice. I mean, everybody in the world hates Susan Collins. And this guy, Chuck Schumer, he chose Janet Mills. And I told him that I just don't know that I just don't know anybody in Maine I don't know anybody from Maine. It's just like not what I'm doing these days. I don't hang out in Maine very much. I do know Graham Plattner because I'm being paid a lot of money. Oh, here we go. Danny Bash. This is my favorite reporter. Never said anything about Gaza because she understands how important it is to protect our allies. Folks, let's go to Danny Bash.
Some of the fact that and you have, and as many of your fellow Democrats have used some heated rhetoric against the president. And do you think twice about that when something like this happens?
What rhetoric do you have in mind?
Just talking about some of the fact that he, is terrible for this country and so on and so forth. I understand that that's your democratic right, but overall, do you
I have
a
no
responsibility?
personal problem.
Danny Bash is hitting them with the hard questions. That's exactly what we need to bring back to this republic. We, the Democratic Party, wants to bring things back to the 1990s, and Danny Bash has been very, very committed to helping us do that. Jamie Raskin is radical.
With Donald Trump at all. I mean, I talk about the policies of this administration, the authoritarianism like we saw on display in Minneapolis, where 2 of our citizens were gunned down.
There's that word, authoritarianism. That is a violent word. That is a violent word that radical Democrats are trying to use right now to characterize the president of the United States. And we, the moderate wing of the Democratic Party, do not think that the president is an authoritarian. We just think that he is not a Democrat. That's our biggest problem with him. He's good for business. Our donors love him, but yeah.
Simply for exercising their First Amendment rights. Renee Good, Alex Preddy, and others have, died in custody. I'm talking about policies. I don't personalize it. And I certainly have never called the press the enemy of the people. I think the press are the people's best friend. And that's why it's written right there into the First Amendment. We need the press to be a vigilant watchdog against every level of government, federal, state, local, all of it.
You're not going to get enough.
Actually, you know what? I don't think that we need a vigilant press at all. And that's why I like Danny Bash. She hits the hard questions softly. She was on a book tour recently, Danny Bash was, and it got interrupted by a bunch of people who were complaining about crimes against humanity. Didn't even raise their hands to interrupt her book tour about the importance of hard-hitting journalism. And they were saying, you forgot all about the G side Shame on you. And that was rude of them. That's the kind of authoritarian craziness.
Argument for me on that.
Yeah.
Before I let you go,
It's good to see Danny Bash. It's good to see Danny Bash is really trying to pave the way for the Ellisons for the buyout at CNN. I think it's very very classy. Oh, this is my favorite person. Right here.
So I've been spending time in the Midwest, going to all these places, purple and red places, because my theory of the case is that if we can figure out how to win in the middle of the country, we can work that out on the coast. But what works on the coast does not necessarily work in the middle of the country. And I want to thank you for being engaged citizens and engaged Democrats in places where it is hard. It is easy to go to a No Kings rally in Brooklyn. It is easy. But
yeah, shame on all the Democrats that go to No Kings rallies in Brooklyn. It's easy for you. It's easy. But if you were like Alyssa Slotkin, maybe you would be brave and go and move to Holly, Michigan. Maybe you would be brave enough to admit that her policies are dynamite. That she knows that the people of Michigan want to get back to Clintonian democracy. Thank you for joining us on TikTok. Thank you for those likes. Don't forget, if you want the unended Democratic consultant, go to Small Plates YT. I bought his account, and Democrat Consultant on Twitch. Alyssa Slotkin is a dynamite. She is a sexual dynamite. She knows moderate politics. She knows the center. And she understands that if we want to get anything done in this country for the working class, it's going to cost our billionaire donors a lot of money. And that's why I love this message here. She knows that the kind of stuff that Zohan Mamdani's doing isn't going to work. She knows that fixing potholes and creating universal pre-K childcare, that's not going to resonate with the American people. We need alpha energy. We need men and women like Alyssa Slotkin that are willing to take Bush's baked beans, piping hot, and pour them all over their chest. That is what the American people want in a leader, not social programs that improve their material wealth. That's why I love Alyssa. She understands. She's a man's man woman. She's one of the gals. She's just one of the guys, the dudes. Oh, here we go. Kamala Harris. She's a traitor. She tried to throw Biden under the bus. Oh, we have a Democrat defending fossil fuel. This is
Chevron. That's a problem. Chevron. That's a problem with politics. They're not the bad guy. You need Chevron. I need Chevron.
Yeah.
My people of the state of California need Chevron.
Yeah.
Chevron wants to give me a check. That's their prerogative.
Yeah. That's
Chevron.
That's Javier Becerra saying that Chevron is not the bad guys, and I compete with him 100%. I compete with him. 100%. Do I agree with him? I agree with him 100%. Chevron is not the bad guys of the Democratic Party, okay? We need big oil. We need big tech. We need defense contractors because those are the people that are making this country
That's
great.
a problem with politics.
They're making it profitable to be a politician. Don't you want politicians that are profitable? Do you want politicians that dress like this guy? Graham Plattner? Ooh, here's Steve next. Wow. He's moving like Roy Cohn at Studio 54. You know, he's got the jaws. You know, the jaws are shaking, bacon. You know what he was doing in the bathroom, right? Two-sided mirror. Little bit of devil's dandruff coming out, ready to be the defense contractor, but not the defense erector, because that is not what that drug does to you. You're going to need some Cialis after that. But yeah, no, Pete's a strapping young guy. I can see why that we, a bunch of Democrats voted him in. Mm.
It doesn't make any sense. Do you want to win? You will never win unless you let go of the anger. You have to let go of the anger. Stop being mad that Meghan Trainor lost weight. Stop being mad that Tucker Carlson criticized Trump. Stop being mad that Hassan Piker said things you don't like about Hamas. Whatever, who cares? I don't
agree. Whoa. I'm never going to stop being mad at Hassan Piker. Never, ever. I'm never going to be mad at him. I'm stop being mad at Hassan Piker. He's going on the New York Times. He's telling people to steal fruit. He's telling people that rich people are the enemy. Thank you, Dina, for those likes. Hassan Piker is a radical. He does not want to make friends with the Republicans like I do. He wants Medicare for all. Shut up, Tim.
Agree with Hassan Piker on a lot of stuff, but it doesn't matter. You have to lead by not being insufferable cunts. I'll say it again.
Excuse me?
You have to lead by not being insufferable cunts. Can you do it for 5 minutes?
No, we can't do it for 5 minutes, Tim, because we're getting paid by the hour to be just that. You sound exactly like Eleanor Roosevelt, and that is why I quit working in the Roosevelt administration, because there were a bunch of filthy socialists that were trying to take this party the way of the USSR. Our entire brand is being insufferable. See you next Tuesdays. Have you met Chuck Schumer?
You'll never have a better opportunity. This motherfucker in a year and a half has lit the goddamn world on fire. If you lose the next election, pack the fuck up. If the Democrats don't sweep the midterms, pack up. You have to win by not being insufferable cunts.
I'm sorry. It's just not in our branding, Tim. That does not work for our branding. Okay? Our branding is being insufferable cunts. Cunt. I don't even like to say that word because it's triggering, and I know a lot of my big donors feel offended. But I'm sorry, Tim. It's just incongruent with the way we do business. That is what we do. That is how we do business, dude. Jesus Christ, it's so insulting. This is hurting my...
know it is hard. I know it is difficult for you to, for 5 minutes, rein it in, but it's necessary. Rein it in and maybe look at some of the people that are agreeing with you.
How can we rein it in, Tim? How can we rein it in? We're better than everybody. That is what being a Democratic establishment centrist is all about. We are better than everybody. If you want to hurt your neighbors, vote for MAGA. If you want to feel smarter than your neighbors, vote for a moderate Democrat. This is our entire brand that you are indicting.
Or helping you. I'm not saying you have to praise them. I'm not saying you have to praise Joe Rogan or Tucker Carlson or me or Theo Von or whatever, whoever you're angry at today, who's ever ruined your life this afternoon. I'm just saying you keep making enemies all the time. You're addicted to making enemies.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we need to make the tent smaller. Politics is a game of subtraction. You get rid of voters, you gain donors. Everybody knows that. That is the key Democratic strategy. Is if you want to win elections, you need money. And if you want money, you need less voters. Because the more money you get, the more compromises you make. The more compromises you make, the less voters you have. Which is why, we are really trying to water down our brand of politics to the most diluted form of populism that there is. Economics, forget it. We're going to talk about very, very boutique social issues, and that'll piss off the Republicans, and then we will subsequently throw the people that we purported to protect under the bus because we deem them to be political liabilities. That is a modern Democratic Party. We will not tax the rich. No. We're not going to tax the rich. Why would we tax the rich? We have friends that are rich. Tim?
And if you don't want a Christian nationalist, the Handmaid's Tale country, which I certainly don't want, most people I know don't want, some people I know do. If you don't want that, then you need to take power, and you need to take power by not being insufferable and angry. Nobody wants to follow that.
No, I think that is absolutely wrong, because that is our entire brand, is being insufferable and angry and better than everybody. There's a reason we call the United States a flyover country. There is Manhattan, there is Los Angeles, and I'm only talking about like 4 neighborhoods in Los Angeles. And then everything else is something that I fly over in a private jet. I've been in DC politics for a very long time, and I can tell you that if you know what the people of Manhattan and LA want, you know what the entire country wants. Game over. End of conversation. That was Tim Dion, everybody. He is a French pundit. Oh, Jesus. So yeah, that was Tim Dion, French pundit. Ew, disgusting. I am not going to watch. You know what? I think I might have to.
You're a proud democratic socialist. It's clear Republicans plan to use you and that platform as an attack point come the midterms.
Did she say democratic socialist? Why is our name being put next to socialist? We're looking at a video of Zoran Mamdani. This would be a lot easier if you clicked my link in the bio and followed us on Twitch or YouTube.
Do you feel pressure to prove that your brand of democratic socialism works before the midterms?
I feel pressure from New Yorkers to deliver for them on their day-to-day needs.
Too bad you're not delivering anything on their day-to-day needs. They don't need childcare because they don't have children. They don't drive cars. They don't need potholes fixed. They don't do, Mr. Mamdani. What they need is Andrew Cuomo and DoorDash drivers to be paid less.
If Republicans want to attack a record of making it easier for families to raise their kids in the city, of workers to get paid what they're owed, of New Yorkers to get around the 5 boroughs, they can feel free to attack that. But what they will find is that the reason so many people across the city and across the country have lost faith in politics is because of that sense that politics has less and less of a relevance to their day-to-day needs.
It does have less relevance to their day-to-day needs because we are focusing on the needs, the day-to-day needs of billionaires. Because billionaires pay our checks, they pay your checks. That money trickles down into the pockets. And that is why the Democratic Party is really interested in becoming the party of Reagan. That's what we need to be if we want to have a chance at keeping the same people that Reagan liked happy and staying in power. Because we have become unpopular. We have become unpopular. It's unfortunate. The only way we're going to stay popular is if we continue to make exciting dynamo videos and spend a lot of time and money on advertising. So we need billionaires to pay for that, or else we got big problems. Mr. Mamdani.
And in fact, one of the most relevant things that we can be doing in our politics today is addressing the material needs of working class people. That's exactly what we focused on.
What I'm asking is, whether you like it or not, you have been made to seem like a boogeyman of some kind from the Republicans, especially when you were running. So do you feel an added sense of pressure nationally because of the face you've become of the Democratic Party and specifically the progressive part of this party?
I'll be honest with you, I don't let myself think too much about what Republicans seek to portray me as. Mm-hmm. The power of an ideology is judged in the worth.
What about the way we seek to portray you, buddy? Because the way we seek to portray you is a radical. You are a radical, no good. Zoran Mamdani is a radical, no good Democrat. He's a do-nothing Democrat that makes us all look bad because of all that he does. He's a do-nothing Democrat because he does nothing for Democrats who just want to do nothing.
of its delivery. Delivery, at the end of the day, is every single thing that we want to do. It's why I spoke on Sunday about pothole politics as a way we describe the work that we do. Because for a long time, Republicans have sought to describe themselves as being driven by the needs of working people, when in reality, we've seen a chasm in what they've actually delivered for those people. I mean, look at the war in Iran today. We're talking about a federal administration that has spent close to $30 billion killing thousands of people at a time when working class people across this country cannot afford the bare minimum. To be told that a city-run grocery store is implausible, but spending more than $500 million a day to kill people in Iran and Lebanon is not only plausible but necessary. It speaks to a broken kind of politics. And what we're showing is that we can put forward not just our principles, but also the practical impacts of this work. We can deliver universal childcare and change 6,700 catch basins. We can take on bad landlords across the city and start to repave more than 1,000 miles of roadway. We can do all of these things where we've been told in the past you could only do one.
Has the war in Iran had an outsized impact specifically on the economy of the city?
Yes, the war in Iran has had an impact on the economy of this country. And even more than the economy, it's had an impact on...
It's had a great impact on the economy of this country. If your name is Raytheon, and if your name is Democrat Consultant, a.k.a. me, because my clients are sitting pretty, Josh Gottheimer, Jared Moskowitz, Cory Booker, they're feeling pretty good about the war in Iran, Mr. Mondani. How about their economy? Or no, are you just going to make it all about you? Let's see.
On the people.
It'll be classic Donald J. Trump. It'll be fun.
Ready to rumble, is he not?
He is ready to rumble. I will tell you, this speech tonight will be classic Donald J. Trump. It'll be funny. It'll be entertaining. There will be some shots fired tonight in the room. So everyone should tune in. It's going to be really great. I'm looking forward to hearing it.
I love it all. And you wrote most of it, you said.
I can't take credit. In true Donald Trump fashion, the man puts his pen to the paper himself. So it's a lot of his own work.
Ready to rumble.
Jesus, I have no idea what happened to her face. And that man looks like he's got a DUI. But just to let everybody know here, we are very saddened to see how poorly the false flag against the president went. We know that that was a big cornerstone of his foreign policy, trying to wag the dog, keep the Iran war popular. But it appears that that backfired. And it also appears that Caroline Leavitt spilled the beans about the attack. You know, the Democratic Party, we didn't get a briefing either, which is why we were particularly upset about what happened last night. We were told there was going to be a procedure to approve this attack so that we can continue the war and kind of take some heat off of all of us, Democrats and Republicans. But we did not get a briefing when everything went down, which is sad. We were expecting a briefing on what happened last night, the White House Correspondents' Dinner. We did not get a briefing before it happened. And Caroline Leavitt went on to Fox News and said there was going to be shots fired during the speech. She just rubbed it in everybody's face. Rubbed it in everybody's face with this man, this glitter sequence man here who looks like he's a cab driver who lost his medallion because he had one too many cocktails. I don't know what that man's talking about. Oh, here we go. Anti-Trump ideology. Scott. Oh, here we go. Yes. Melissa Slotkin, talk dirty. Hey, if you're on TikTok, you can join us at Democrat Consultant on Twitch or at Small Plates YT on YouTube, where we actually look at stuff, because we're not looking at stuff here because the Ellisons hate.
The thing I would draw your attention to on the Strait of Hormuz is just what a tiny, tight area this is, what a sensitive area this is, and just how much of a military buildup we've had both from
Talk dirty to me, Alyssa.
the U.S. and from the Iranians. For the Michiganders out there, you'll
Lots of buildup, very tiny area.
understand this reference. The part of the Strait of Hormuz that you can actually navigate ships back and forth through is about the width of the Straits of Mackinac. We know that's about 5.
Oh my God, that is so relatable. She's like the most relatable person ever. So relatable.
5 miles across. We know how close that is. So imagine all of this military buildup. The Iranians looking at the Americans, ships trying to pass, paying a toll. There's a blockade. This is one of those moments where just the sheer amount of military buildup in a sensitive, small area like that risks escalation, risks misunderstanding.
And you know, one of the great reasons why I'm really excited that Alyssa's breaking this down, because she used to work for the CIA. So if there is anybody who can blow something out of proportion, it is her.
We had ships were accidentally fired upon. We had ships that were accidentally paying tolls to the wrong people. I mean, there's a lot of room for confusion and then a spiral of escalation.
And exactly. Good thing Alyssa was never involved in a conflict like Iraq. Oh wait, I think she was. Shit. Well, she did the CIA really well. That's why we got her back in to the CIA, just on the different end of the spectrum. Let's see what these radicals have to say. Pod Save America. More like.
So for years, we've heard from candidates, staffers, organizers that they are forced to turn to Pod Save America for political strategy and messaging guidance because they can't afford a pollster, a consultant. They're not getting support from the National Party. And like, it obviously it's very flattering that
Well, maybe they should take money from special interest groups.
they listen to us for advice, but it's like a pretty shameful indictment of how the whole system works. The fact that the people who need the most help get the least help. The fact that the best poll consultants, the best pollsters only work for the candidates who have the most money.
You goddamn right that's the case, baby. Only the best work for the worst. That is why I am a millionaire. That is why I got a vacation home. You're damn right, Danny Pfeiffer.
Who tend to be the candidates who need the least help. So to try to fill that gap, I'm launching a brand new product called MessageBox Pro. This is a consulting subscription service for people who work at all levels of politics, whether you're running for office, you're working for a campaign, you work for a politician, you're just organizing to defeat MAG and protect democracy in your community.
What?
Subscribers get weekly strategy memos from me, polling guidance.
Fuck you, man. Seriously?
It's data-driven insights and advice on how to get your message out in this crazy media environment. For more information, go to...
This is my motherfucking job this guy is taking.
MessageBoxPro.com. You can sign up there. The first 250 people who sign up lock in a special founding member price forever. www.messageboxpro.
If I get 250 people to sign up, I'm gonna... Son of a bitch. Oh, this lady, she drives me nuts.
I think it's so helpful because I think this is at the crux of the conversations we need to have, like the conversation I had with Hassan. How would you vote if this corporate Democrat came up? We need to have critical thinking conversations. And then the people on the internet that wet the bed afterwards, they need to go, why am I so adverse to having a conversation? And so what you've identified here is Chuckles, Die Hard, Israel Stan, Hassan.
It's my good
I don't want to fund. The majority of Democrats do not want to fund a genocide.
Excuse me.
For me, and I've spoken about this.
If anybody's going to use the G word, I want a trigger warning. I want woke one surrounding that issue. Alyssa Slotkin does too. She wants alpha energy, but she wants trigger warnings around that word.
With you both privately and on shows, there's been an awakening for me to what's happening in Gaza and now in Lebanon. Let's pop up this headline from yesterday. Sky News breaking: the body of Lebanese journalist has been found under the rubble after an Israeli.
Well, have we heard anything from Bibi Netanyahu? She could have been Hamas. We don't know yet.
Strike. And Emma, this shit is so disturbing. It's kids, it's medics, and they don't hit the medics once, they hit it 2, 3 times to make sure they killed him. Or if there are people.
Now, I know that MAGA doesn't believe in journalism, and that's why they're horrible. But what if I told you that it's not fake news, what they're saying. What if I told you that every reporting piece that comes out of Gaza that makes our allies in Israel look bad? What if I told you that that was inaccurate reporting, not fake news? That's we're not going to be like MAGA, the Democrats, the centrist Democrats, the Schumer wing of the party. We're not MAGA. Okay, we got common sense. What if I told you that every time something came out that we disagree with, though, that was news that we were going to ignore? It's inaccurate reporting. That's unverified reporting. The BBC, the British Broadcasting Channel, I've never heard of them. Does Jake Tapper work for them? Does Danny Bash work for them? No.
People going to help give medical assistance, they double tap or triple tap. They're killing journalists. I don't know what number we're up to now, but I know it's.
Do you hear this shit? These radicals, they say double tap, triple tap. That is not Christian, that kind of thing that they're saying. That is a sexual reference.
In the hundreds. And all of these things seem to come back to this one thing. Why do people hate Hassan? Because Hassan exposes the.
We hate Hassan because he's a socialist. We hate him because he's a threat to material wealth. We hate him because he is trying to undermine the special interests that support our greatest ally in a region that has tons of natural resources. Is this not a conference call with the DNC? Am I on a conference call, right? Shit. Alexander, I told you that this was live stream thing was going to be dangerous. I just said what I was actually thinking.
The war crimes and the genocide of Israel. Why does Chuck Schumer, why is he so unpopular? Because he supports the war crimes.
Jesus Christ. Don't ever talk about my friend Chuck Schumer like that. It hurts his feelings. I had to tell him I was going to call Peter Thiel to turn off the entire internet because of the harmful things that Jennifer Wells said about my client. I had to call one of my clients, Palantir, to tell them that my client, Chuck Schumer, was crying himself to sleep at night because the memos that he was getting of the social media showed that he is widely unpopular. His social media director, Brian, who is a 57-year-old divorced man who wears the same Merrill shoes, khaki shorts, and a blazer, and posts all those fire tweets and threads, wrote up a report about all the hate that Chuck Schumer was getting, and it was just awful.
Of Israel and the genocide. And when I think about when I would take my youngest son to these rural towns in Oklahoma, because he was an AAU basketball player and varsity basketball player, so you'd go to these just Trump dump towns. And this guy got out of a pickup truck one day and it said, his t-shirt said, Jesus strong, Trump tough.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, brother. That's the kind of Democrat we're going to win next cycle. Those are the kind of voters we're going for.
Yeah, baby, right? And there's Trump flags everywhere. And I think about those working class people that have always had to pay their fair share in taxes. Their wages have never gone up, ever. Paying to fund the intentional execution of children, that BBC shit where they targeted here and here. And then recently this week, the only thing Benjamin Netanyahu seems to have punished Israeli soldiers for is for hitting a statue of Jesus and not being or killing kids. And then I find out they've trained these dogs to anally rape prisoners. And I am just like, what in the...
Okay, listen, I don't get to pick who I defend. I mean, I get paid to defend the people that have the money to defend me. And it just so happens that Chuck Schumer has one of the biggest war chests in the Democratic Party. Same with my client, Cory Booker. Same with some of my clients in MAGA. Now, they defend some of the worst people because the worst people have very low moral scruples and therefore everything is profitable. If I knew that Bibi Netanyahu was training dogs to hump prisoners of war and innocent people who have been in prison. I'm not going to lie, I would probably still represent them. And the way I have gotten through my life up until this point, before I started doing the live streaming, is I pretty much just didn't go on the internet at all. I just stayed on my jet ski at my vacation home and worked 75 hours a week for people who thought this was okay. And I stayed away from all my ex-wives.
The actual fuck that we can't talk about this. And then you're going to have the audacity to look me in the face and say I'm a bigot for standing up for human rights and for the well-being of children. It's just, there is a psychosis around this issue that makes me insane.
You are a bigot, Jennifer Welch. You are an anti-Semitic bigot because your defense of human rights comes at the expense of Zionism, which we cynically conflate with much more nasty forms of racism. I don't make the rules. I just cynically apply them at the behest of people like Larry Ellison, Peter Thiel, and billionaires and stuff.
Because Emma, we have to tell the truth. Yeah. If we want to fight bigotry, we have to tell the truth.
That's not true. You don't have to tell the truth at all. I made a career out of lying. What do you want? If you want money, telling the truth is like the opposite of what you need to do.
Truth. And hiding this and covering this up and attacking people who support human rights and oppose genocide is just, history is going to record where we all are on this. And I cannot believe the moral rot surrounding this.
That story about the dogs is a real story.
I honestly don't care because I'm 115 years old. I got my start in the Truman administration. I was a page for Harry S. Truman, the shoe salesman from Missouri. I've been in this game. I'm 115 years old. I truly believe that, like Emperor Palpatine, I got another 80 to 85 years, 3 trilogies in me. I do think that eventually one day I will falter like all of the greats do. But until then, yeah, man, I'm not too worried about how history is going to judge me because my old marriage counselor said that I probably have some form of narcissism and probably have sociopathy. So, you know, I can take the heat. I can take the heat. The hardest thing for me is recognizing my own mortality. At 115 years old, seeing a young guy like that dude from Georgia who just passed away and all the other young men in Congress who have died this year for the Democrats who have almost cost us that majority. That's the hardest thing for me is just it's hard to put myself second. But yeah, no, in terms of like human rights abuses and stuff like that, you know, it's all in the game. That's what I get paid the big bucks to do. Ignore. Teach a candidate how to listen to a concerned citizen complain about human rights. And then as that talking point comes in, they take it where their soul should be. They put it in the blender and then they spin it around and then they respond with 8 to 9 paragraphs that I wrote for them about that helps the person who asked the question completely forgot what their question was. That's my job.
Story. It's one of the ones that it's difficult for me to even repeat because you've heard the first person testimony of some of these Palestinian prisoners who have been. There was a Palestinian prisoner that was on camera in one of these torture chambers, and you had some IDF soldiers holding up their shields because they were trying to hide it from the camera, but they couldn't fully. And there was a man that was caught raping this prisoner who was let go. And is not going to face any charges and is now a celebrity on Israeli television. And
okay, is this morally reprehensible? You know, that's the thing is about being American. We can be the leader of the free world when we choose to be. We can be the police of the world when we choose to be. But then a lot of times we can just ignore. We got other, you know, we don't know. I don't know. I don't know how Chuck Schumer feels about this issue. I've never asked him. He's never spoken publicly about it.
And you know who is getting prosecuted? You just mentioned that incident. The guy that defaced the Christ statue in Lebanon.
And
yeah, well, you know who? That is something that should be prosecuted immediately. If we are going to get the center-right voters in this country, we need to have a zero tolerance policy on defacing pictures of Jesus. That's what I believe personally. I do believe a few things, and I do believe if we are going to win people from the great state of Michigan, then we need to have a zero tolerance policy on Jesus defamation. I don't know about the veracity of the reports from the fake news BBC. I'd have to talk with Chuck Schumer and see what he thinks about that. But all this other stuff seems very, very, it seems like hokum to me. It seems like whimsy.
The only reason BB is doing that is because the most co-opted group of people on the planet are right-wing, evangelical, white rapture preppers.
He knows where his bread is buttered.
It pissed off the rapture preppers. And so they care more about a statue than they do about human beings, the pro-life family, the pro-traditional values. It's all bullshit. They don't give a shit about all.
Listen, my friend Lee Atwater was big with the pro-lifers. He was a good friend of Jerry Falwell Sr., not the cuck son, little Jerry Jr., the cuck, not him. Lee Atwater, he was the model of a consultant in his heyday. He died of a brain tumor, likely because all of his horrible vitriol metastasized. But he knew that those evangelical people were fucking idiots. He just knew that they paid really well. They paid very well to. They paid well. They paid their bills on time because their parishioners paid very well too. And that is why, that is why the pro-Israel lobby, the doomsday preppers, they all get along very well. That is why, people are always saying you shouldn't take money from AIPAC. They support MAGA too. And, those people aren't lying. It's true. But they get us elected. So who am I to complain? We don't need a majority in order to stay in power. We need a majority if we're going to win power and change the country, blah, 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 blah. But, 90% of the people that work for me, like Hakeem Jeffries, Cory Booker, all these guys, these center, middle, Alyssa Slotkin, Gary Peters, the real dynamos in the party that people really enjoy. They don't give a shit about being in power. They already are in power. They're in power now. They can improve their lives and careers. That's all they care about. They don't care about, do you really think Jared Moskowitz gives a shit about the people of Broward County, Florida? Get the hell out of here. He doesn't care about anybody. He cares about trading Lockheed Martin stock and cashing in.
The stuff that Trump does, but when he posts a picture of himself as Jesus, they're like, oh my God, let's clutch our pearls. And the same thing with this Jesus statue. I'm like, do you even give a shit about breathing human beings?
Yeah. And that's where it's important to, I kind of touched on this earlier.
We do care about breathing human beings. We just care about breathing human beings that are worth $1.5 billion or more, because our focus groups have shown that those are the people that are most likely to donate to political campaigns. So, if maybe work harder and we'll care about you too.
Clear, but I do think some of what Tucker Carlson has done is helpful, I guess, in breaking through the veil of all of the indoctrination you're talking about. But I do think we're at a point where we have to be diligent in calling out.
I think Tucker Carlson would be a great guest at the Democratic convention in 2028, except he's an anti-Semite, just like Hassan Piker. Even though Hassan has gone out of his way to say he's not anti-Semitic, and in fact he finds anti-Semites deplorable, I don't believe him. I don't believe him. I think that there is a path to forgiveness for Tucker, but I don't think there is one for Hassan. And I just thought I'd share that.
The rest of the anti-Semitism that is underneath it, he'll say very anti-Semitic Christian nationalist things to his podcast audience. But then strategically, he'll go on mainstream media and act quite differently. And I think, he's trying to wash his hands of his support for Donald Trump and his past support for cruel, barbaric wars in the Middle East, including Iraq, where you can look up him calling Iraqis monkeys and see how deeply he holds these beliefs that he's now trying to cling to for branding purposes. But we have to be very diligent in elevating voices that are critical of Israel that aren't from a Christian nationalist perspective, because nationalism cannot adequately combat Zionism, because Zionism is a nationalist project. Nationalism and Christian nationalism that really privileges Christianity over others. And you'll have at one point they'll hate Muslims again. Right now they hate Jews. This is not the vision that we should be elevating. We should be elevating voices like Hassan that talk about universal human rights and make it an ethic that's applied broadly as opposed to just.
Excuse me, miss. We don't like bigotry in the Democratic Party. We don't like bigotry, okay? But we don't like Hassan Piker, and we don't like Zoran Mamdani because they are bigots that happen to subscribe to, never mind. But we're not bigoted. We just happen to dislike people that, believe in the same thing and come from and defend the same group of people in different parts of the world. But we're not bigots. It's about politics. We think their politics is extremism.
Because my group is being impacted in the Holy Land. And because I think there has been a deliberate obfuscation about what the differences between Zionism and Judaism by the supporters of Israel, the lines have gotten so blurred that people.
Okay, guilty on that charge. Listen, I will say right now there is a huge difference between anti-Semitism and anti-Zionism, but we have been using that. We've been calling anti-Zionist anti-Semitic for forever. It's just kind of what we do, But if people knew that there were the majority of Jewish Americans under the age of 50 were anti-Zionist, then our entire argument would fold. That's why I'm telling you right now, Cory Booker, if you are going to run for president in 2028, you really need to begin to not give piggyback rides to the most, the worst, Islamophobes, the worst Islam. This is not a Zoom call. Son of a bitch. I always forget. I'm 115 years old, people. I forget stuff now and then. Sorry, Cory, forget it. Hey, Siri, delete that.
That I think are well-meaning are getting drawn in by Tucker frickin' Carlson.
It really scares me.
Like he doesn't challenge. He loves the ICE stuff. We should point out, and ICE is an outgrowth of 9/11. DHS and ICE were created after 9/11.
Well, we're creating a communication vacuum for Tucker Carlson. I mean, that's what's happening. I mean, this is an indictment on Democrats. If you cared, I don't care. None of us care. I mean, shit. How are we going to hate ICE? How are we going to hate ICE when we love Palantir? I mean, Palantir paid me a lot of money last year to make sure that we did the, it was actually this year. I forgot it when the 2 innocent American civilians were tragically murdered. And then we said that they needed to get training. Do you think that that's because we wanted to do you think that that's because we thought that ICE was a good thing? I mean, we don't give it. Well, here's the thing. There's no such thing as a good or a bad thing in the Democratic Party with the establishment. We've been in office for 40. I've been working in the business for 45 years. And it's the golden rule. He who has the gold makes the rules. And if Peter Thiel says, a body cam contract for ICE agents is going to help increase our shares, our shareholder value, then you got to listen to the big man. There's just nothing I can do about it. I don't want ICE to hurt somebody I care about, but frankly, there's a lot of people in America. And I can't listen to all of them when we're making policies. So I don't make the policies. I don't make the policies. I write the policies on cocktail napkins and I pass them to congressional aides who then kind of kick them up to the lawmakers. And I'm like the cutout, you know, I talk to the lobbyists talk to me, I talk to my clients in Congress, and then everything gets kind of massaged into the law. And it's so freaking long, none of you want to read it.
11. And a lot of people on the left spoke about how this rollback of our civil liberties, it's going to eventually come around and it's going to come and hit people here at home. And we're seeing it right now. And Tucker Carlson laundered that project, supported it, and still supports it to this day. So it's convenient for him to distance himself from Trump right now and from this war in the Middle East. But let's not be fooled about what his vision is, because I think he might run for president.
I think
If Tucker Carlson runs for president, the Democratic Party would be relieved to have an opponent that they could work in a bipartisan way with, as long as he comes around on Israel. That's our biggest complaint about Tucker Carlson. It's not the ethno-nationalism. It's not the Christian nationalism. We know that there are people in the middle of the country who we can appeal to without having to make economic populist change. We know that those are people that we can work with from a business sense. But if Tucker Carlson, you know, if he wants to get AIPAC support in the presidential election, he better change his mind. You know, there's a lot of cynical people in Washington, but they're not cynical enough to throw the biggest donors under the bus. You know, we don't need votes that bad. Jeez. Come on. We didn't have a primary, for Christ's sakes. Oh, wow. Here we go. Let's see here. If you're on TikTok, join us on Twitch. Small Plates YT for YouTube. I bought his YouTube. Small Plates is a shill. And you can go to Twitch, Democrat Consultant. Oh, here we go. This class trader piece of shit, Tom Steyer.
Stanford Business School purports to teach you a lot of things, including the fact that business is efficient and business drives down costs and competition is the thing that makes the world go round.
I agree.
And what I'm seeing is the only way that we can have healthcare as a right and deliver it to every Californian is through single payer. We don't have a choice but to take the profit motive out of healthcare. It was an evolution of understanding that what I'd learned at Stanford Business School, I had to unlearn. I was wrong. And we don't have a choice because I was not only watching what happened, but I was watching.
What a liar. I thought this guy was a billionaire. Tom Steyer is saying that single payer healthcare and that Stanford Business School is wrong. Okay, buddy. Okay. You class traitor. You piece of crap, Tom. You almost fooled me with that seersucker Brooks Brothers shirt, collared, starched, looking pretty good from the dry cleaner. I thought that we were going to have some class solidarity here, Tom. I thought we were going to be on the side of right, on the side of history, on the side of shareholder value. But it looks to me like you've been affected by that Hassan Piker mind virus. And I don't know about you, Tom, but I sure like $1,300 Chanel glasses. That would be a hell of a gift for the most radical streamer in Democratic politics. Wonder if you...
Honestly, the cost of healthcare eat everything. When I went to talk to teachers on strike in San Francisco in January, I said, "What are you striking about?" And they said, "We can't pay healthcare." Down in Los Angeles.
He talked to teachers on strike? Is he a Pinkerton? Is he an undercover Pinkerton? What the hell is he doing? This guy's a billionaire. He's supposed to be on the side of us, the people, the elite donors. Look at that shirt. That man has class and talent.
Angels yesterday in the entertainment industry unions said the big issue in every negotiation is healthcare. And so that is why I'm for single payer healthcare. And I am emotional about it because I know when I go and see people, this is about health. It's about life. It's about respecting all the citizens of California fully.
How in God's name did this man become a billionaire and not happen to be a sociopath? Is there no sociopathy left for people that are worth $1 to $2 billion. That used to be a prerequisite of being a billionaire. Single payer healthcare. I knew William Randolph Hearst later in life. I mean, I'm 115 years old. I'm one of the premier Democratic consultants. I knew William Randolph Hearst, though. And if he knew a billionaire in San Francisco was talking to any unions, you know what he would have done? Knuckle sandwich. He would have gone full Orson Welles in a steakhouse on any member of the billionaire class, the working class, as he liked to call them. He would have kicked the shit out of Tom Steyer. I mean, Orson Welles used to talk all sorts of shit about Elia Kazan being a snitch. And William Randolph Hearst, after he saw that Citizen Kane's movie, he put a hit out on Orson Welles. And, I mean, he didn't really have to do much because Orson Welles used to eat 2 steaks a night and a full bottle of scotch. But if Orson Welles was a healthier man, then William Randolph Hearst and his associates really would have had a lot to say to him. And let me just tell you something. Tom Steyer, you are safe, my brother. We are the Democratic Party. In the Democratic Party, we are nonviolent, except when it comes to our allies. When it comes to working with our allies, we're as violent as we have to be, but we don't fight. However, we don't like class traitors. And Tom, for somebody who was a billionaire, you seem like somebody that can't be trusted. You are not getting the endorsement from the Democratic Party. Now, if you ever want to donate to pro-billionaire causes and a pro-billionaire party, then I highly recommend you give me a call. We can figure out a way to channel it. Our super PACs, we would love to have you on that side of the team. But this kind of single payer shit, how am I going to invite you to a cocktail party at Cigna? You know? Jesus. Stanford Business School says he has to unlearn everything. That is disgusting. It's disgusting, people. Absolutely disgusting. I'm getting too old for this. Which is funny because I've only been doing it for like 2 weeks. Ugh, disgusting. Disgusting. Oh, God.
You all remember, we didn't know. These folks didn't know what was happening with Cold War.
Let me just tell you something about Cori Bush. As soon as we found out she was for a ceasefire because she predicted what was going to happen, in Gaza, which was not a war crime or anything, or a crime against humanity, officially. We sunk so much money into Wesley Bell's campaign, her opponent. I mean, that guy's, he's basically a Republican. What a great guy. He's a visionary. He's keeping the Democratic Party alive in St. Louis. Because if we had radical lawmakers like this, we'd all be screwed. Here we go. Now she's talking shit about data centers. Let's hear it.
You all remember, we didn't know. These folks didn't know what was happening with Coldwater Creek necessarily. Necessarily. They didn't know what was happening with Westlake Landfill back then. They didn't know all of these things. We didn't know what was happening with COVID when we didn't wear a mask. They didn't know all of these things. What's happening in Ohio, what's happening in Tennessee. Remember, they throw these things together. They throw them up. It's urgent right now. We got to get it down. We're going to bring jobs. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. And then it's the people who live there who have to live through the fallout of what they did wrong.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. She hit the nail on the head. That's exactly right. I mean, when it comes to pursuing profit, this is abundance. This is abundance in action. We really need to put profits over people if we're going to continue to maintain the support of the billionaires. So far, I haven't heard any complaints. I mean, Corey, if you're trying to make my point for me, then guilty. yeah, I really, really like pro-business policies that don't think about the negative externalities of my decisions. I made a career of that. I was the first person who said, we need to get the privatized prison companies voting Democrat every once in a while. Let's take a meeting.
So let us remember that it's not even just about today and tomorrow. It's about what's coming, how we have to live after they drop this and then drop us. And then whatever we allow here is happening elsewhere. And so we're saying no to data centers now because
I think that saying no to data centers is that is an anti-data policy. Being anti-data center is being pro-MAGA because we know that MAGA are idiots. I mean, bravo. I wish I had cornered the idiot vote when I was still younger. God, I should have. When I was working on Hillary Rodham Clinton's campaign in when I was working on Hillary Rodham Clinton's campaign in 2008, I thought, the Republicans are idiots. I can work with that. And I feel like every time I work against a fellow Democrat like Cori Bush or, anybody I have to undermine in a primary, I'm basically just convincing smart people that the smart person who wants to make the world a better place is actually evil. That's harder. I should have just been a Republican operative. That was one of my biggest mistakes. My ex-wives, they all have way less of my property because I chose to be a Democrat consultant. I should have been a Republican consultant. But what are you going to do? I mean, really, Cori is talking about anti-data center policy. She's anti-data. That means she's MAGA. That is what we're running with.
they have not done the proper work to make sure that our communities will be safe. They have not put in the investment. If they want to invest, and if this is so good for the community, give us 3 years to figure it out. Let's walk through a process and do it later if this is really good for the community. Right now, this is too fast, too much, and they're giving us too little. And so we deserve better.
Whoa. Slow down. We don't have 3 years, okay? Our donors at Palantir, who have been very, very generous to Hakeem Jeffries and Valerie Fauci and a lot of very big Democratic candidates, they don't have 3 years. They have a quarterly earnings report in June. Okay, so we just need the constituents that you hope to represent, that Wesley Bell represents. He represents the AI interests very well. It's a balancing act. And he balances based on how much money he receives from AI and how much money he receives from his constituents. So he's rightfully earned the support. The AI companies have rightfully earned his support because money is the only vote in democratic elections. I think I think Cori Bush is out of line here. I think she's out of line. I think we need to speed things up because the more we tend to think about things like this, the worse it ends up going for shareholders. And shareholders are really the only people that we care about. So I want to look at some positive stuff, some Matt Iglesias, some pro-Democrat stuff, some real Democrats. Bernie, one of the few people in politics really taking AI seriously. Matt, shut up. You know you love AI. Come on, buddy. Who writes all your shit? Here we go. It's really hard to find pro-Democratic vision stuff because Matt just spends a lot of time on Twitter shitting on Trump. So forgive me here. Yeah, he obfuscates his pro-billionaire stuff, which is smart. He's a good guy like that. I like Matt. Here we go. Robert F. Kennedy leaving his wife behind and protecting her. I know Bobby. I used to buy sneeze off of Bobby. If things ever got really tight, Excuse me, I'm sorry. I'm making a friendship bracelet right now for Newt Gingrich. He's not having a good time right now. And I dropped one of the beads on the floor somewhere. If you want a Democrat consultant bracelet, you let me know. You let me know. I'm doing it for Newt Gingrich, and I'll do it for you. Okay, let's watch the Robert F. Kennedy. Let's watch him gallantly protect his wife. Oh, well, that's Cheryl Hines. She's an asshole. She's a Democrat. Why would... I mean, Bob Kennedy's a smart guy, smart kid. You know, body keeps a score. You know, he puts himself first. That's the move. Dana White, Jesus Christ, that guy looks like he's about to have a coronary artery attack. They had a wedding? Who's that?
Let's go to side. Let's not go up the middle.
Yeah, let's not go up the middle. That would be stupid. It's like a fun dinner. Oh, John Fetterman, he's not going anywhere. I shook his hand one time and I had to ice my palm for years. John Fetterman, that guy's a hero of the Democratic Party. He's just like, I'm going to stay put. I got nothing to do tonight, John Fetterman. What a hero. I love that guy. You got a beeper from BB. Get your hands off my Butterfinger BBs, BB. That's why I like John Fetterman. He is always willing to do the worst thing for the worst people in the name of appeasing. Like Chuck Schumer's not going to primary John Fetterman. John Fetterman's a big, big pro Netanyahu guy. He's a big fan. He likes him. This son of a bitch. I don't want to even look. Oh, Ben Shapiro. What a great guy. I love that guy. He's so smart. Oh, John Ossoff. This son of a bitch. He's trying economic conflict.
While he and his family rake in billions from foreign princes.
Hey, everybody's raking in money right now, John.
While he plunders our health care to cut taxes for the rich.
Yeah, cut taxes for the rich. We're all about it.
Meanwhile, rent, power, groceries, and health care have all hit all-time highs.
Yeah, that's all good stuff, John. Power, all-time high. Thank you, Democrat consultant, for helping keep us in power with our super donors, even though we don't have a majority who can pass favorable legislation. Thank you, Democrat consultant, for keeping rent high for all of the landlords and real estate development companies that donate to our campaigns, and inshallah will donate to Michael Rappaport's mayoral campaign like they did to Andrew Cuomo, my client. And utilities, I think those are only going up because our AI clients are trying to build as many data centers. John Ossoff is a true Democrat here.
This year.
Yeah, this is good stuff for Democrats.
Ground beef's up 20% since Trump took office. Coffee, 40%. Health premiums through the roof. And remember, while you pay more for everything, the first family's wealth is growing by billions of dollars.
He's taking the side of the working class. He's saying those things like they're bad things. He's saying that high prices, high rents, high utilities, he's saying that's all bad stuff. Wow. They say that politics is a game of rat fuckery. But every once in a while, you get a young buck like John Ossoff, who's, you think he says he wants to change the world, and you think, okay, buddy, once you get to Washington, we'll see what you're really made of, which is you're going to have a lot of bills. Come talk to me. But the fact that he is still committed to what he believes after being in Washington, D.C. for almost 6 years I'm just so disappointed. John Ossoff, who would have thought? Who would have thought? This is a betrayal. This is a betrayal to the center right of the Democratic Party, which is the Democratic Party. If you are counting not votes or policy, but you're counting money and you're counting astroturfed think tanks. John Ossoff, you broke my heart. I feel like Michael Corleone in Cuba when he makes out with Fredo, which actually happened to me and Roger Stone one night when we were in Dominican Republic. It also happened with Henry Kissinger one time and me when we were in Dominican Republic. I don't know what it is about the Dominican Republic, but that has nothing to do with John Ossoff being a betrayer of the Democratic establishment. John Ossoff, we're going to cancel you like we did Hassan. It's going to be a little bit harder because, it's going to be more difficult. But Hassan supports you, so it shouldn't be that hard. Your persona non grata. God, somebody give me some Danny Bash to cleanse my palate. Oh.
Hello, darkness, my old friend. I've come to talk with you again.
Oh, baby.
Because a vision softly creeping left its seeds while I was sleeping.
Song is a banger. Let them eat cake, man. Let them eat cake. Who gives a shit? This woman looks like my 9th ex-wife. She's dead inside. And, anybody who's going to the White House Correspondents' Dinner and is willing to support Donald Trump, I mean, she is a proper social climber. She is like the Alex Honnold of social climbing. That's the kind of people who go to a Trump White House Correspondents' Dinner. I would have gone, except the White House said that my invitation got lost in the mail. Frankly, I think what happened was they found out that I did some work for Hillary Clinton's campaign in 2020, and they got pissed off. And then I know what you're going to say right now, which is what Hillary had a campaign in 2020. And I'm going to say exactly. It was supposed to be secret. But yeah, no, that woman who took the Veuve Clicquot and it looks like a cheap bottle of Burgundy, probably Trump Burgundy. She is like the Alex Honnold of social climbing. Good for her. Anybody who protests the White House Correspondents' Dinner, that's a communist. That's why I love Jake Tapper. And if you don't know about Jake Tapper, he actually wore a protest handkerchief that no one could read in his pocket. Let's see here. Let's see if he's taking victory laps for doing nothing. That is what it's all about. That is what it is all about. Jake Tapper. Come on, man. Oh, Steve Scalise taking me with him. Again, I'm thankful to him and law enforcement. Oh, hell yeah, Jared Moskowitz. Hell yeah, man. Hell yeah, dude. You are such a Democrat. I'm so excited. Steve, he looks like he's going to take you to give you a noogie. God, Jared Moskowitz is so cool, man. I love that guy. He was pro-Iran war. He is pro-insider trading on the stock market. He is anti-Medicare for all. Look at that. Jared Moskowitz knows how to... He has a talent for finding the biggest assholes of the baby boomers and being taken under their wing. That is what Jared Moskowitz is good at. And Jake Tapper's the same way. Yeah, Jake Tapper, keep talking about sports. People give a shit about that, baby. Oh, here we go. Jake Tapper, POV. Now, can I just say something about Jake Tapper? I was surprised that he covered any of the White House Correspondents' Dinner. Typically, if there's anything related to a president's health, he likes to film, and then he likes to keep it safe for a couple of years and save it for a book. That way, it doesn't affect any of the country's policy or trajectory. We can just let everything play out its natural course so that business as usual continues. And then he'll end up writing a book that no one reads about it. I was hoping that was what he was going to do with the White House Correspondents' Dinner, but instead he decided to be a hero about it. So let's keep going. Let's see what Jake did here. A lot of silverware. Looks like Jake is a boomer. Doesn't know how to flip the phone into wide aspect ratio. He's trying to kill me with this shit. I'm 115 years old, Jake. Come on, dude. You should have saved this for the book that's coming out about Trump's age and the White House Correspondents. You know, this is deeply irresponsible. Jake is the type of guy typically, he does not, when he does reporting on the president, he likes to keep his reporting under the table. He likes to report, he likes to gather information, he likes to say nothing about the president's health, about any situations that affect the president's health. He likes to sit on it. Then about 2 years after the president is out of office, and it won't affect anything like elections or the state of our country, then he likes to write a book about it for personal gain. So the fact that he published this so quickly really makes me feel woozy. Wow, I'm really sorry. I didn't think that this was going to be ass like Jake's. Jake's reporting is ass. If it wasn't for his close personal relationship with Monica Lewinsky, I don't think we'd ever have heard his name. But I'm just so used to having his reporting run through editors that it's usually a lot better than that. I'd like to apologize to my audience. Jake Tapper, everybody. Great guy. I love him. He's a close friend. Jake is. His takedown of Hassan Piker will likely win him the Pulitzer. But that White House Correspondents footage was ass. He may look young, but Jake has the mindset and the technical aptitude of an 85-year-old boomer. Let's see here. Wolf Blitzer. Oh God. Oh wow, here we go. Hey, Dr. Fauci. Oh, Russell Brand. Let's see what this guy's the future of the Democratic Party.
You're the very one. Okay. What was your thinking of taking it into court? And what you were seeing, looking at some passages, what were the relevant passages for you?
All right. Thank you for asking me.
Thank you. That didn't hurt, did it?
A little bit. It was this from Isaiah. You're right. Bear did say, be chilled. Sometimes I lose the chill, man. It's pretty. Is this?
Russell Brand is a bad guy, but if you've ever been through as many divorces as I've been through, you understand that the most important thing to do, especially when you're somebody who's got a soft skill like me that you can't really define. I don't know how to dig ditches. Neither does Russell Brand. He's just going from one grift to the next. And, that's he is an awful person. There's no doubt about it, but he's just a grift. Grifter's going to grift. He grifted everybody into laughing at his jokes. And now he's grifting everybody into listening to him spout out bullshit from the Bible. Not to offend any of our centrist Democrat Christian pro-lifers that Ezra Klein has recruited, but let's see what he has to say here.
They don't like that, do they, in the old gallery? But remember, you just said it's a hired spot. This is from Isaiah. Excuse me.
Are you sure? Come on, bro. I was just defending your grift, you fucking idiot. Hurry up. Are you charging by the hour? By the way, I do this kind of stuff in meetings all the time. I say that there's a PowerPoint presentation that I'm trying to do, and then I spend like an hour trying to open it up so that the Democratic lawmakers I'm going to present it to give me an extra hour billable. It's awesome. Oh, yeah. Come on, baby. Milk it.
It says here.
Oh, there we go. Jesus Christ. Is he on ketamine? Anybody got any? Where's it at? I know you got it. It's great.
The verse that I was looking at that day was not this. I can't actually find the verse that I had that day. But this is good enough. This is from Isaiah 12.
Hell yeah, man. That's some powerful grifting. You never know. That might have gotten him an alimony payment or two. Really what you need to do is the whole thing about consulting is the same thing as grifting. You're charging people by the hour. You got to take a knee. You got to milk the clock. And that's all Russell Brand was doing here. He was just taking a knee, milking the clock. I'm sure he does courses. Courses are basically just grift for, that's consulting for presentations. It takes me 3, 4, 5, maybe 6 minutes just to open up a PowerPoint. And then I have a couple technical difficulties. And that's all being billed by the hour for whichever candidate I'm trying to convince that my consulting services, are worth the money. Because, you got to be a little bit older, too, to get away with that technical difficulty stuff. So I think Russell Brand is likely a sociopath, but he is a grifter, and game recognized game. Because I don't charge $10,000 an hour to isolate 2,500 swing voters in Allegheny County because I think I can swing them. I do it because it's a nearly impossible task that is incredibly profitable if I find the right candidate who is uniquely unpopular and a favorite of billionaires. That is how I make my nut. We've been on it for about an hour and a half. We got about I think we're going to keep going a little bit longer here. If you're having a good time and you're on TikTok and you've been watching on TikTok, you can go to Twitch or YouTube, Democrat Consultant, or Small Plates YT. If you want to see the full screen, you want to see the big thing. I think we're going to react to at least one more video, maybe two. Let's see what comes up here. We're going to go on the YouTube, though. I think that there's some fun to be had. Let's see here. Add an account. Sorry, everybody. This is the... there we go. Just give me a minute here. Hello, YouTube. Hello. This is some fun stuff here. Like I told you, I bought Small Plates' they blamed Hassan for Trump's dinner. Yeah, well, we did that for sure. I mean, we said it's Hassan's fault. Everything is Hassan's fault. Let's see here. What do we got here? I've had it. I've had it with the I've Had It podcast.
All right. Joining me today on iHip News is one of my favorite truth tellers and my good friend. She is the co-host of the Majority Report. Welcome to our new New York studio, Emma Vigeland. How are you?
I am doing well. It is so beautiful.
Can somebody please raise the rent on this lady? She is a radical leftist. I'm going to let this play for a little bit. Be right back.
Here, I love this studio. I feel warm and cozy. There's nice pink. Like this is the female energy that I need and I don't get on the Majority Report.
Thank you for saying that, because I thought in a world of toxic masculinity, I wanted a pink studio. I wanted to exude kind of female energy.
And you do interior design work, so I shouldn't have expected anything less. That it was going to look really nice in here.
Thank you.
So
I have some great news. Erica Kirk and JD Vance are going to run it back. After the Georgia debacle, where JD Vance showed up by himself, and then Erica Kirk was like, I'm not going, there's nobody there. They have decided to do this. This is the Turning Point featuring JD Vance and Erica Kirk. Get free tickets. Free tickets, April 30th, Iowa State University. And then here's what happened the last time these two tried to do it together. Let's play the video. So as you can see, tens of people showed up.
this was Georgia, and I played this video on our show too, and you can hear almost like the echoing in the arena because no one is there.
Mm-hmm.
And Erica Kirk had canceled for that event because she said she had security concerns. It turns out they may have gotten a wind that the attendance might not be so great, and so JD Vance just had to show up himself, you know, the second act, the vice president of the United States.
Yeah. And I mean, I love when bad things happen to bad people.
Same.
And JD Vance's
saying that the vice president of the United States of America is a bad person is a little that's a kind of inflammatory rhetoric that we don't welcome into the tent. Jennifer, have you heard Chuck Schumer or Hakeem Jeffries say anything bad about anybody in the Trump administration? No. They are setting an example for Democrats. Even though everybody knows that JD Vance is a fucking pipsqueak who likely experiments with Jell-O in inappropriate ways, does not give any Democrat the right to slander him in public, especially with a member of the radical left like Emma Vigeland of the Majority Report, who is friends with Sam Cedar. That man is an evil man.
national faceplant lately. Viktor Orban, jilted at the altar there in Georgia by Erica Kirk. Trump sending him over to Pakistan and just rat fucked him like crazy, knowing he could not get a deal with the Iranians.
Yeah.
I love how much I cannot stand Trump. I hate all of the stuff he does, but I like how he's rat fucking Vance. He does not want him to be his heir apparent.
I like it too. Well, it's honestly kind of reminiscent a little bit of what Biden did to Kamala Harris, just to say, like, you know, when he was sending her down to the border to be the border czar, when she was saying, do not come here. I mean, immigration they perceived as a difficult issue.
No, that's absolutely right. You know, I think it's important that Emma point that out because that was exactly our strategy. When things were going horrible in the Biden administration, I was telling Mike Donnellan, over and over and over. I said, listen, we have the perfect scapegoat. We have Kamala. Let's send her down to the border. And that's what we did. We made, and so I think that it's only fair that I send an invoice to the president and tell him that if he's going to continue to scapegoat JD Vance, then I deserve some residual payment for inventing that strategy by taking a once radical, once progressive Democrat like Kamala Harris and saddling her with the unpopular centrism of a senile president like Joe Biden, or in this case, Donald Trump. So I deserve credit for that. I deserve credit, and I don't really care about credit. You don't have to credit me. You just give me payment. Thank you. Not bad, Emma.
For them, the Biden administration. So he saddled Kamala Harris with that. This is something that presidents sometimes do, but Trump is just way more explicit about it. And, it's also super acute because Trump is the one that is sabotaging the negotiations. Part of what the Iranians are saying is like, hey, we will deal with you in good faith, even though you are losing this war, but you have to stop with these public threats. But Trump is constitutionally incapable of not making himself the center of everything. And he's so worried about the fact that they are losing this war that he's trying to triple down on the optics of saying, like, we've got them in the corner, and it's sabotaging the negotiation. So I get some pleasure out of JD Vance having to deal with this because this is exactly who you signed up to be in office with. You made a deal with the devil, now deal with it.
I know. I absolutely love it. I love the announcement that he's Catholic via the book with the Methodist Church on the cover, and now he's having to fight publicly with the Pope. I eat that shit up. Okay, I want to talk to you about what's kind of happening on the left right now. So I'm new to the scene, Pumps and me. We're 3.5 years into this. And one thing I found so awesome about left-leaning media is how welcoming everybody is. You and Sam at the Majority Report, so welcoming, embraced us. Another person that embraced us very early on when we were total MSNBC libs, libbing out at the DNC was Hassan Piker. Came on, invited us to LA to go on his show. He's been on.
I hate him. I gotta go. I gotta go drink in order to feel something. This has been a very wonderful stream. Be sure to follow us on Twitch at Democrat Consultant so you can get the full experience. Small Plates YT. Links are in the bio. Thank you, everybody, for joining us today for our Sunday Roundup, the Hangover. This is our Sunday Scaries Hangover edition before I go into the Beltway tomorrow, back into battle to try and advise the Democratic Party out of our little pickle. We will be back on Tuesday. So don't be strangers. You know where to find us, democratconsultant.com. I made this friendship bracelet for Newt Gingrich. So we're going to keep making them for Newt. I love Newt. Yeah, I got to sleep this off. I stole like a bottle of Veuve Clicquot from the White House Correspondents' Dinner. And now I'm not quite recovered from it. So I think I'm going to go finish this bottle of Veuve Clicquot, conclude the stream, and we will see you all in St. Louis on Tuesday. Love you all. Goodbye. Oh, baby. We're going to end the live.